For most of its history, India's national security strategy followed a predictable pattern of containment. The military and intelligence services were trained to react to external threats, absorbing attacks and focusing on defense rather than neutralizing dangers at their point of origin. Over the last decade, that doctrine has been replaced. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India has adopted an aggressive, proactive stance, launching strikes across borders and taking action against threats before they can fully form. But this isn't just a change in political will. It's a total overhaul of the nation's security logic. So who actually designed this new way of thinking? The fingerprints on every major security decision point to one man, Ajit Doval. As the current national security advisor, he operates from the shadows, directing the most sensitive operations in the country. To understand India's current geopolitical behavior, you have to look past the speeches and study the life of the spy who developed the defensive-offensive playbook. The first tenet of the Doval Doctrine is that precise, local intelligence is more efficient than mass military force. He argues that a well-placed piece of information can collapse a threat that an entire army might struggle to contain. He demonstrated this during the 1971 riots in Kerala. Looting and violence had spread so quickly that local police were paralyzed, unable to enter the most dangerous neighborhoods without the risk of starting a full-scale battle. Doval bypassed the standard protocol of sending in columns of officers. Instead, he spent days wandering the active riot zones alone. He identified the specific leaders of the looting factions and began negotiating with them directly. He realized the violence was fueled by anger over stolen property. By locating and returning the looted goods, he ended the riots within a week without firing a shot, proving that understanding the root cause of chaos is more effective than trying to suppress it with force. The second tenet takes the fight to the enemy. If you cannot defeat an organization from the outside, you must infiltrate and dismantle it from within. In the early 70s, Doval was tasked with neutralizing the Mizo National Front, a rebel group led by Lal Denga that was seeking to break away from India. Operating under deep cover, Doval targeted Lal Denga's top 7 commanders. He became their drinking partner and trusted confidant, even hosting them for dinners at his home. He spent 2 years convincing them that the rebellion would eventually lead to their own destruction. The strategy worked. 6 of the 7 commanders eventually defected, leaving Lal Denga with no choice but to abandon the rebellion and sign a peace treaty with the Indian government. He applied this same logic during 1988's Operation Black Thunder, when militants fortified themselves inside the Golden Temple. To avoid the carnage of a frontal military assault, Doval posed as a Pakistani ISI agent and walked right into the militant stronghold. Inside, he mapped out their exact positions and convinced the militants that help was coming, while secretly coordinating with the authorities to cut off the temple's water and electricity during a massive heat wave. Dehydrated and convinced their positions were compromised, the militants surrendered without a fight. Doval had used infiltration to achieve what a direct attack likely would have failed to do. The third tenet moves from the field to the halls of power. If an external government is a threat, you manipulate the political hierarchy to change the regime. In Sikkim, Doval worked to empower local leader Qazi Dorji, helping him build a political movement that eventually toppled the monarchy and led to Sikkim joining India, permanently removing a US-influenced buffer state from the border. However, even a spymaster has a weakness. Doval's operations often relied on political support and cooperation from rival agencies, both of which were frequently unreliable. This friction peaked in 2005. Doval had trained a hit squad from a rival gang to assassinate underworld don Dawood Ibrahim at a wedding in Dubai. The operation was compromised when the Mumbai police, possibly tipped off by the underworld, raided Doval's hideout and arrested his shooters just before they left for the mission. When the government then slashed his tenure as intelligence bureau chief and forced into retirement, Doval realized that tactical excellence is useless if the politicians in charge can simply shut you down. After being sidelined by the state, Doval used his intelligence background to turn his sights on India's own political landscape. He founded the Vivekananda International Foundation, which produced a data-driven report detailing the vast amounts of black money hidden in offshore accounts by those close to the government. Doval ensured this report reached opposition leaders, providing them with the specific financial evidence they needed to attack the ruling party's credibility. This intelligence provided the fuel for the 2011 anti-corruption movement led by Anna Hazare, turning a vague sense of public frustration into a targeted political crisis. The resulting protests were so large and persistent that they effectively neutralized the government's ability to govern, leading to a massive political shift in the next election. By utilizing a tactical intelligence leak to spark a national movement, Doval effectively dismantled the leadership that had retired him, clearing the path for a new government that would return him to power with even more authority. When the BJP took power in 2014, Doval was immediately brought back into the fold as the National Security Advisor. He used his new position to centralize intelligence operations, applying the lessons he had learned from past failures, like the 1999 Kandahar hijacking, to create a unified command structure. Today, his influence over India's security apparatus is so complete that no major defense or intelligence policy moves forward without his personal approval. His ability to outmaneuver opponents through both field tactics and political engineering has earned him the title, the modern Chanakya. Ajit Doval remains the primary architect of India's current security framework, proving that the most influential decisions are often made by the person who controls the flow of information.